This is the Automotive Repair Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up, Effective Communication, the show on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network focused on elevating our communication and leadership skills. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, and with me today is guest and friend of the show, Kent Bullard. Thank you so much for joining me today. Man, we have a good topic.
Thank you for having me. This topic is very near and dear to me. Always love having a conversation with you, Craig. Really deep stuff. Very excited.
And we are talking about what I consider, and you probably agree with me, I think almost universally, aside from maybe giving feedback, the hardest thing about communication in a leadership role is delegation. And I hear this all the time.
Some of the things that prevent a lot of the clients that we work with, like one of those big friction points is going to be delegation. So I could come in and say, hey, we've identified all these things in your business that we could impact, we could do. A vast majority of it requires the owner or the manager to delegate responsibility to the people that should be handling that, whether it be a project, a task, a process, a new communication, a new scripting for when somebody calls in the shop. It requires proper delegation, because I've worked with a ton. And by the way, I'm very guilty of this, and it is a practice because we get bad habits, especially when you're doing a lot. You just want to be prescriptive. You want to say, this is the right answer, go do this. And you miss a lot of the key things that are going to get the buy-in and the accountability that everybody is always asking for. How do I get my employees to buy in? How do I get, the accountability? And it's like, you're thinking about it as a result. And that's part of the problem, is that you are seeking the result. And it's really about how you set up the expectation.
That's a good setup. And that is also, delegate is our word of the day. As always, we have a word of the day. And how could we improve on this one? So we'll define the word delegate for you after we hear a word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Your partner in technology, AutoFlow is able to enhance your client interactions before, during, and after the visit from a single thread. To see how AutoFlow makes it simple, visit autoflow.com. Your trusted companion, ShopDog Marketing, is right by your side, attracting the best customers and building long-term growth. Call ShopDog Marketing today or visit shopdogmarketing.com. Unlock your communication insights with Inbound's AI-powered call analytics for auto repair shops. Learn more at callinbound.com. Want a more profitable shop? Start with your service advisor. They are the face of your business, the voice on the phone, and the key to every approved repair. ServiceAdvisorTraining.com is dedicated to giving them the tools and training they deserve. Okay, we are back. Our word of the day is delegate. We're discussing this with our friend Kent Bullard. Boy, delegate as the word of the day. It seems like an easy word. We're familiar with it, but I wanted to go into the etymology of this word a little bit today. We look at it as telling people to do something for us. And it's not far.
Let's reframe that, Craig. It's doing something for themselves.
Ooh, I like that. But the etymology is fun. We're talking about as a verb, delegate, not like the noun delegate, a person who's a part of a convention. So the root word of the Latin word delegate, if you break it apart, you get de, de, meaning away, and legere, meaning to send with a commission. Some scholars think that legere literally meant to engage by contract, and it's tied to the Latin word lex, meaning law. So at the root, to delegate something is to send it away under contract. You're formally entrusting it to someone else with real authority attached.
Authority. Let's chew on that for a second, okay? Authority. That's such an interesting topic. So you're sending this task away or giving them a contract. You're saying you are responsible for this in a legal sense. You have authority. And it's not me having authority, it's us having authority about the thing you're supposed to do, right? So if I was going to give you something, I also have to give you the authority to undertake that task. Does that make sense? You have to be able to make decisions in your space, in your area, in order to accomplish what was given to you.
One of the leadership books I love is Turn the Ship Around by David Marquette, and it's about the USS Santa Fe. I've mentioned it multiple times on the show. He always talks about it's like you can't empower people, you emancipate them, you free them in order to make decisions. Like the actual initiative needs to be internal, and so it's not that you're necessarily giving authority away. It's the way you're looking at this. It feels more like you're welcoming someone into a shared.
Don't drum up the workers to gather wood. Inspire them with the vast and endless sea. It's about showing them the opportunity in that task, in the action, and almost elevating that context. And now we're getting to really so esoteric stuff, and delegation should be simple, right? But often we miss that big point, which is it's not about us. It's about the people that we're managing. Delegation can be used as a developmental tool. If I want you to practice a certain skill or engage in critical thinking or solve problems, I might delegate the problem to you. I was having a coaching call the other day, and we were talking about bringing on another service advisor for the shop. And the owner was going on about, well, I need to have the process in place. I need to have the policies in place. I have to have, some of this stuff already defined before I bring them in. And I don't disagree. We should have a plan. But a lot of that stuff, it's like, hey, you are delegating the task. You are micromanaging all of this before they even come in. If you are hiring the right person, they should be coming in and helping decide and say, look, from my experience, this is how I would do it, and it will get the result that you're looking for, and then some.
I feel like a lot of times when delegation is mentioned and the act of delegating a task, it feels like closely associated to it is the darkest side of it possible, which is micromanagement. That isn't what this actually means. That's not the goal at all.
If we're going to go above and beyond, a lot of leaders out there are looking to grow their business, grow their platform, grow their community, grow their team. It's about giving up that opportunity to those so that they can seize it.
The thing with shop owners, I feel like, and anyone that's trying to delegate something to an even assistant who's there to help you do things, it's like, it's harder work for me to delegate to them what has to happen because they're not going to do it the way I would do it. And it's just quicker for me to do it myself than to delegate it.
It isn't quicker.
Why do we lie to ourselves on this thing? It feels quicker because it's harder to get good at delegating, I think is probably the reality.
So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this thing. And since you didn't do it exactly the way that I wanted, I'm now going to spend my time away from those key things to do it for you. And as I'm doing this, so many things are happening. Okay. One, I've just removed all ownership and authority from you. I've taken the rug out from under you and said, you know what? I don't believe in you. I don't think you're capable of doing this. And now I'm the one going and doing it. Okay. And then there's some almost, people like us. I'm telling you, hey, that is always like you to come in here and have me have to come in and fix everything. And so now I'm taking a hit at their ego and their own self-worth and belief. And at the same time, I didn't train them to do it right. I didn't put them in a position to be successful. They don't even have the opportunity to fix or correct their behavior because I came in and did it for them. And so now guess what? That's not their job. That's my job. And anytime it comes up, I'm the one that has to do it. So did I really save myself time?
And it isn't always just about saving time either. It's sometimes just about replicating your role so that you can move into other areas of focus and attention because of sheer necessity and growth. This is my example. Like when we talked before bringing this topic, you said, hey, have some examples of delegation. Ken, I just lived one. And I lived in a kind of a comical way because we have she's going to hate that I do this, but we have a wonderful team member on at AutoFlow, Bridget Fonts. She's absolutely stellar. Just one of those super organized people that are they seem to hold the context of all things like really, really well. And what I've realized is she's actually better at managing our department and client success than I am. And here's how I realized it. I needed her help because I was going overseas to work with some clients in Australia. And what a perfect case for being able to get good at like replicating and giving people the opportunity to do what they need to do. I just had to get out of our time zone by 14 hours and be sleeping while they're working to let it happen without my interference. And great results are exactly what came in because she knew already all the things that had to happen and could make them happen. I had never gone through the formal thing of saying, okay, your job is to be able to keep doing this and make it happen.
Expectations. That is a great opportunity. I think when you're working through this stuff, you're very reactive a lot of times because the business is growing. There's new problems, new things that are happening, and you're trying to cover it all at the same time while trying to delegate.
Yeah, I have a tendency to want to be the guy to also deal with the things as they come in. That's ego. And I have to recognize that sometimes. And I think a lot of our audience that are working in shop environments too, ego is always a factor in these environments. And especially when you've been very good at the thing, diagnostic guys, shop owner types, the rock star service advisor at the counter, they like to be the high performer in those actions and tasks. And that by itself prevents them from even getting to the first step of delegating at all.
You've created a reward, an incentive system for a specific type of behavior. And since you're used to it, and you're also doing new things that you're unaware of, like you go back to the beginning of doing a new skill and learning a new skill. So you don't know what you don't know and you're going to make mistakes. And that feels really uncomfortable. So we end up creating busy work and going back into the things that we know really well. And we're like, well, I was feeling really down. Now I feel really good because I came and saved the day. But you just did all those things I listed earlier to your employee. You totally disenfranchised them.
Yeah, wild. Well, Kent, you have this model that you are, and we talked before this, and you said, yeah, you're a decent presenter. People have told you you're a decent. You're a very decent presenter, man. I don't know. For those that don't know Kent or haven't been to one of his classes that are listening in our audience today, when you get a chance at one of the next shows, probably ASTA or STX are probably one of the next chances that you have, right? It probably is STX first, isn't it?
I think it's STX and then it's ASTA.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. That's more in October for ASTA. Yep. And so, yeah, dude, Kent, you're a great presenter. And I'll tell this to our audience. I don't know many people who put more time, energy, and effort into the research, into the organization, and the structure of their content than Kent.
I already have a pretty big head, man.
No, dude, but that's the work. That is the work. And when you create these models that help to elaborate a point, and we're going to put one on the screen here too. We're going to pop this right on here. The Delegation WINS, W.I.N.S. WINS. So if you're not watching this episode on the app, go ahead and turn on video sometime. Come back to us. We'll try to get some of these images and show notes too if we can. It's a nice 4-square grid sort of angled at a diagram, and we have the acronym. We got to use acronyms in this industry to teach things, right, Kent?
It can be really nice. What I was really trying to go for was something that you didn't need to have this PDF. You just need a piece of paper to work through it. And by the way, this is just a practice. This is a thing that you can practice. And over time, you just get good at filling those boxes as you go. Right. So I wanted an easy way for somebody that could pick up, if they've never delegated before, to practice how to do a good delegation.
So it's define the wins, W-I-N-S. So you define the win. That's the W. W is win. Then
impact. So what's the impact? Which is going to be either could be the client, could be the business, could be you as the owner. But most importantly, what's the impact for the person that you are delegating it to? I think that you have to remove those degrees of separation for the effort and what they're going to be rewarded with. You have to connect and align that outcome that is going to benefit them. If you do this, if you write this process, if you practice this script, here's how it's going to benefit you in your position specifically. That's the impact it'll have.
Beautiful. And after impact with the acronym N,
non-negotiables. So this is the standards. These are things that are going to protect things like your safety, security, your culture, your legal, could be time, trust, all of those things, quality. Right. So a lot of times I've been in classes where people will say, well, one, we don't want to be micromanaging, but at the same time, two, we have to make sure that certain standards are met. Right. I want 90% of what I would perform at, and my team isn't quote unquote doing it. Well, you've never clarified to them what that expectation should be. So at least give them a minimum standard. What are the non-negotiables? What also has to be true? And then the last one, support. And it's twofold. First off, I always ask, the leaders that I work with, what are some ways that you can support this person as they execute, so that you can go into that conversation with an idea of, I know I can support you in this way. The second part is to ask them how I can support you. What do you need from me? Because oftentimes you'll be surprised at what they'll ask for.
Let's talk about how it's used. So you have another graphic here on the screen as well, and we'll break this down. And when defining the win, the very first thing, I love this about you guys at the Institute. You're very good at this, being results that have to be measurable.
Measurable. I have to clarify what the win is going to look like. So just to premise this, by the way, if I'm ever going to delegate a task or a project, I don't necessarily need this. I just need a piece of paper. And those who've worked in the dealership space, you know about 4 squares. This is a 4 square. We're going to write 4 squares on the piece of paper. W-I-N-S. So this very top one, we're going to ask a few questions. How can or will it or should it be measured? How do we define whether we've won the game? Another question we can ask is, when will this be completed by? Or when are we going to start this? And last is, what does it look like, feel like at the end? And that's really important because a lot of us, we don't get inspired by the practical sense. Yeah, I could make more money. I could do, less work. But really, it's what's the feeling that those things provide, right? Is it clarity? Is it less stress? Is it, opportunity? Is it growth? Personal development? What does it feel like to have this win state if we finish this task?
This is very closely related to change management.
There's a lot of similarities. So let's talk about the impact. The impact is, what is the specific difference this is going to make? Specifically, how will this change our current state? What do you stand to gain or lose? So if we do this, here's how you gain, right? You specifically, here's how you lose. You can even expand this to whomever might be impacted as well. So the client, the business. And then, who will this impact and how? When it comes to the non-negotiables, here's 2 questions you can ask. What also has to be true when this is complete? And what's the standard or boundary that must be upheld? So if we're going to, do this thing, let's say we're going to revise our referral program. We're going to talk about, okay, well, if we're going to refer this, we have to make sure that it's going to be bringing more of our best customers. We got to define who that actually looks like. Or it could be, if we're going to hand off this to this other person, we have to make sure that these people are notified. So like if we're going to have some communication or dispatch to the shop, who all has to be notified when this comes in? Like say warranty work, who should be notified when that happens? So that might be a standard or boundary that has to be true. Okay. And then that last section, 2 questions. What support do they believe they need from me? And how do I know that I can support them? What are the things I know I can provide for them?
Just a great conversation to have before you drop a task on someone.
That's true. I've had people either do it ahead of time before they have a conversation, which is great for one-on-ones, and literally doing it in the moment where they've sat down with a service advisor or a technician right there in the shop and wrote the square out and just went through and talked about it with that person. I think that creates some additional buy-in as well.
It's time for today's Suck Less Spotlight from AutoFlow. Today's spotlight is on advisor eye twitches. Listen, clients like to stay informed throughout the repair process, and studies indicate clients are most satisfied receiving text updates versus phone calls. But call you they will, interrupting everything from estimating to quality conversations and your game of solitaire. That is, unless you text them first using AutoFlow. With AutoFlow's automated text updates, your phone only rings for the right reasons. That way, with less phone interruptions, your eye twitch will definitely suck less. For this and more things that could suck less, visit AutoFlow.com. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Every professional auto repair shop needs a trusted communication partner. At Inbound, our established VoIP platform is backed by years of industry experience, guarantees reliable connections, and is combined with cutting-edge AI-powered analytics. We deliver actionable insights that support your business growth. With Inbound, you get more than just calls. You get a smarter, more efficient operation. Get Inbound on your team today and see how we can transform your business. Visit callinbound.com. What if you knew exactly what to say to the price shopper, the upset customer, the person who says they cannot afford it. Every day, service advisors lose customers not because of bad service, but because of the wrong words at the wrong moment. Words That Work is a free phone scripts playbook built for auto service professionals. Every script includes the reasoning behind it, so you understand not just what to say, but why it works. Grab your free copy at serviceadvisortraining.com. Let me use this as an example, because with the AutoFlow client success team, we have a lot of interesting tasks going on. We're in the middle of an architecture update. So one of the things that we do is we're guiding our clients that are in our early adopter phase of that through that portion of the program. And this is where Bridget has really proven herself capable and essentially delegating that part of the organization of following up with those individual shops and managing the feedback and any adjustments that need to be made to the program in order for it to be a more effective version. That's been going straight to her, and she's been proving herself wonderfully. So I would use that as an example. Like, we have a architecture change, that a migration to manage.
Okay. So what does the win state look like?
The win state is we are on the brand new architecture and we are fast again, right? Is that the case? Like, am I looking at the win state correctly? Like, we're looking at this as the big vision of why we're going through this.
Start with the end in mind, right? So if you're moving this architecture, what does it look like or feel like to be at the end of this transition with the new architecture? You said new.
Everybody's
fast,
happy and loves it. It's fantastic. Yeah. No.
Happy. It's creating a better, is this something that clients use?
Absolutely.
Okay. So clients have a much better experience. We could define their experiences. It's stress-free. It's easy. It's seamless.
Seamless is the word that I didn't want to say it because we say it so much in the software land.
Okay, well then what does that feel like?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a major change to the user. It just feels better.
Beautiful. So those are things I would add to help refine what the win state would look like. And maybe a little more specific about what she's going to do specifically with that. What would she handle in this new win state?
It's managing that feedback. It's managed and making sure our team members are following up with each piece of feedback as it comes in for our target sample group.
Okay, so let's talk about the specific difference this is going to make. So if she's taking this over, how will this impact you?
The impact for me is I don't have to micromanage any of these little details or have to engage that myself. I get to keep doing what we try to do. Like we were talking earlier, one of the key things I'm supposed to be doing is developing training content and material for the broader organization. And if I'm involved in the nitty-gritty details of all the other elements, that doesn't get to happen. Then Craig gets stressed.
We don't get good content. All right, great. How is this going to impact your customers?
Oh, the impact of the customers. Well, one, they get to talk to Bridget more and several of our other team members, not just me, which actually probably make everyone happy too, because they're wonderful.
More of our wonderful team get to be known by our wonderful customers.
Well, they get to feel listened to and heard, and that their input matters, and that they get to establish some. I feel like maybe it's the wrong word. No, maybe not. Ownership in some of these changes too, and that input matters, and we love that.
Okay, all right. How will this impact her specifically?
This is my favorite piece, Kent, because what we've accomplished recently is like we get to acknowledge Bridget in a leadership role that's probably long overdue and well-deserved and well-earned. And for the impact on her, well, I hope that means that compensation also goes up, not just more work. But that's not my department. That's Chris.
Sorry, Chris. No, but think about this. Okay, so I want to take it one step further with her. Is this going to be aligned with the things that motivate and fulfill her? Is it meaningful and fulfilling to her? And what might those elements be? Is she somebody who cares about the acknowledgement? Is she someone who cares about the growth?
What I love about it, Ken, I absolutely love this, is like the team members rally behind her because they recognize that under her guidance on this, it's been very effective and she's just on it. And that's such a great thing. And so, no, she hates praise, winces under it all the time. And so we're teaching her to get better at it. And this is just so fun. I hope they make her listen to this podcast. But
so I'm going to summarize this real quick. Okay. Here's how cool this is. Now we can talk about gain and loss. So with you you stand to gain the opportunity to write more good content, which impacts the company, the team, the clientele that you have with better, more impactful, engaging content. And you get to lose all the stress and headache of trying to manage a lot of that. And she also gets to lose the stress and headache of having to go through you for some of this stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Bear in mind.
Fair.
Let's talk about the customer. The customer stands to gain better relationships with the team, better understanding of everybody over there, that they can build those relationships.
And what's coming to my mind, Kent, is like in terms of loss, this has something to do with the impact for our clients too, because one of the things that I don't like I love our clients, and so many of them have been with us for so long. For me, it's very hard not to be the guy. And I faced this in the shop when I was a service advisor and main manager for a very long time. Then we hired a different service manager, and those clients that came in expecting me, they wanted to talk to me. It was important that they talk to me. They felt like that was the thing to go. Like that was actually the hardest thing for me to let go of, and then try to direct the clients to like, these guys, we hired them for a reason. They're wonderful. They're brilliant, and you're going to love them. Engage with them.
So you're going to lose out on feeling like the guy.
I've also been conditioned to expect me to be the guy, and I don't want to be the only guy. My job is to replicate myself and to try to get other people to be recognized as not only the guy or gal, but that they are perfectly 100% capable to be that person too. I can't be.
The other way that you can look at this is if we didn't do this. So they might lose out on the opportunity to get to know everybody.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
What about for her, right? We go back to Gain. She gets leadership role, recognition, growth. If we don't end up doing this right, then she loses out on that opportunity to move her career forward or be more impactful with her ability to contribute meaningfully. All right. Non-negotiables. So if we were to do this whole project, what also has to be true when this thing is completed?
Gosh, I guess that it's going to be the multi-layer cross-department collaborations.
Okay, so we have to maintain communication.
Yeah, if this is happening in its own silo, that doesn't necessarily help if the feedback, for example, doesn't get through our quality control and our dev team in this scenario. And like, gosh, in pulling in a shop environment, example too, I feel like I'm blending examples because my experiences in software and experience in the shop actually are so paralleled, as you well know. So a lot of the same things, it's just in a different space. Like what also had to be true, like for me having a different service advisor at that counter, I had to be more effective in the role that I am now spending more time in, which for me was managing the business, not just working in it, right? And that's something we are in the coaching field, especially, you're dealing with this all the time to help people get into that spot. So what also has to be true when this is going well, it's like, well, I also have to be able to make what's happening in my time that is freed up by having delegated successfully fruitful.
I like that you're adding that, because what you're saying is I have to delegate this because delegating this creates this opportunity for me to do this and this.
Correct.
And so I have to be able to have the time to do that. At the same time, we could say, the clients can't lose out on certain services. Like we can't have a loss of service. We can't have, a customer being left behind. We can't not communicate to the clients over the transition.
So you're talking like on the standards and boundaries, right? Like, yeah, clients get communicated. So support and how we work with them to make sure that problems get solved quickly. All of those things have to still happen simultaneously while this other initiative is playing out. Yeah,
exactly. We didn't get too into it in the top there, but I'd also put, when is this going to be completed and started up in the WIN?
Right. Now.
But right now we can hit
as soon as possible.
And you can even talk timeline. Right. I expect this, will take about 3 months. What do you think? Right. And if that is, it's going to be, September 7th, right? What's the date we're going to put on this? So now we have some non-negotiables, things that have to be true. The last is support. What are some of the specific things you can do to help support her in that initiative?
When responsibilities are often added or delegation occurs, a lot of time it doesn't come coupled with the removal of existing requirements or goals. That not in many cases. And so that's kind of the question is like, is this something that fits already into what you're doing? Do you have the capacity to do this? I feel like this is a big thing. Like, is there some other thing we need to remove from your day to day that has to happen in order to do what we're asking with this thing.
We might be making assumptions, and we should have a conversation with her and say, in order to do this thing that we've just detailed in these other squares, do you need extra time? Do you need things to be taken off your plate, right? The last question is what you know you can provide. So if I know that, hey, she might not be as versed in this specific area, maybe I can do some one-on-one trainings over the next month, do 3 to 4 of them with her on specific processes so we can go through that. That might be support. In fact, I've had people come back and say that exact thing, like, I know I'm going to take this on. All I really want is maybe a touch base every Friday for the next month, 30 minutes of your time just to review how I'm doing it, right? And provide me the feedback that I'm looking for. Some other people have said, hey, if I need to do this, if I'm going to do this, I need a, ancillary $400 a month for the next 3 months in order to purchase some of the things that I might need to do this thing. So you can talk about budgetary concerns. And this is the question where you ask and you be quiet. What do you need from me in order for you to execute this well? And then listen. What we've done, by the way, now you have, and I've written it out, right? Now you have something you can give and have a good conversation with your person. And that took what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, that was pretty quick. Can you hold up your note again, Kent? Kent's holding up his 4-square scribbles.
I did a 4-square. Right?
Yeah, he did.
Just to document some of those tasks and actions. Frankly, it just having that sheet, that reference guide, those questions, if you answer those questions, you have almost everything you need to delegate something properly without having to micromanage. And then at that point, trust but verify. When am I going to follow up with you? How can we maintain accountability? I've even had employees in my own staff go, how would you define success at the end of the project? How would you know that I did this well?
I love when employees ask that question too. Wow.
So we've created a collaborative space where we can give a project with clarity. And it's a simple framework. There's a dozen out there. The thing is just grab something and use it. Practice the right skills. You clarify the outcome. You talk about how it's going to impact people in a meaningful way. You've got some safeguards in place to maintain quality, time, consideration for everybody, the non-negotiables. And then you've talked about how you can support them, not do it for them, but support them in the execution.
That's a great model, Ken. Thanks for sharing that. A question was percolating on my mind here too. It's like, I feel blessed. We've done, I feel like, largely very good hiring, and we had pretty good track record for it at the shop. Not always great. We had some pitfalls for the person that's going through this model. But then you start to realize, like, golly, maybe I'm delegating to someone I shouldn't be delegating to.
Oh, so you're talking about filtering. So I have a few questions that I would usually ask myself to determine whether I should keep this or give it to someone else. And one of those would be, is it aligned with my highest leverage priorities as a leader? Can someone else on my team perform it competently, freeing up my time? That's the caveat there. Can they do it competently? Not perfectly, competently. Have I clearly communicated the expectations? And resources. That's part of the win square there. This question I really love asking, which is, will delegating this task help develop the skills and empower my team? And that's the key thing, is you might have somebody who can't do it, or they're going to show they can't do it. Well, I probably would have been reluctant from the get-go to give it to them in the first place. So if they are struggling with a specific task, we might have to do some one-on-ones and coach through that process, because they're going to make mistakes. And that's something we also need to be aware of, that humans are imperfect and they might make a decision or two that aren't going to be 100%. But I think 80% is the way there. And so then it becomes a strategic conversation, a coaching conversation with them.
Yeah. And I feel like some folks, like, I'm one of these analytical types too. I like to have something neat and tidy, packaged up and clear and perfect before I even give it to someone, which is already something that is a me problem that's preventing me from even getting to the point of delegation. And the fact is, once a team is in a collaborative state,
it should be easy enough for me to come to you and say, look, this thing you had on the win square, I realized I actually need this in order to move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you can use like the 1-3-1. What's the specific problem you're dealing with? What are 3 options you think would be viable to get this done? And which one do you believe most in? Which one's the best that you believe in?
Otherwise, we complain about a thing not working. We have 0 suggestions on it, and then nothing happens.
I've put them in a position to think critically, to problem solve. They have ownership of taking it forward, of executing. And it might not be 100%, but guess what? Give them their reps, let them practice. They will get better at it, and I will continue to save my time.
Kent, this is awesome. You articulate this so well. I can tell you've been marinating in this subject matter.
It was out of the growth of what we're doing here at the Institute. And, I'm always saying, even had a conversation with it early this morning about, I have to continue to be worthy of the opportunity I'm given. And so if I'm going to be moving up in these positions, if I'm going to be a leader or a manager and a steward of these other people, I continually have to be worthy of that role and position. And that puts me in the headspace to think about, how do I execute? And long story short, delegation is something I'm actively practicing even right now. Delegation and prioritization. And so for me, I deconstruct things, put resources together so that I can practice.
And it's so applicable in multiple areas of life, not just business, family dynamics, husbands and wives, asking for help and laying out a strategy to accomplish something that we both agree is important. And that's probably one of the chief things on this whole thing. If all parties are aligned and there's a shared sense of urgency towards a particular outcome being a priority, you're going to figure this out. And this WINS process, I think, is a really good layout, simple, easy to practice.
It is easy to practice. And I like that you said practice. Those out there who are going to use the WINS square, if you're going to use it, I guarantee you're going to have a hiccup here or there. But that's those opportunities to practice come back to the WINS square. What did I not make clear? What outcome did I not give enough support or resources towards? Did I communicate the impact for this specific person well enough? And you can go back to that and say, okay, this is that area I can improve on.
This is great. Hyper applicable. So folks, if you're curious on this model, you want to go ahead and practice it. My advice on anything, if I have a new thing, and this is the way it is when you go to training or you've learned something that you want to try to apply, just tell your team, hey, I want to try this new thing. Here's what we're doing. Let's see if it works, and go at it together that way.
Delegation itself is not about you. It's about others. It's about their development and their growth. A good leader should create the opportunity for those to contribute meaningfully and then to be acknowledged for it, recognized for it. The more we do that, the more we grow good leaders, those who can contribute, and they go and create good leaders.
That's exactly it. It's a replication process. I love it, Kent. Hey, Kent, how can people reach out to you if they want to hear more about this topic?
If you guys have any questions about anything regarding delegation or leadership or anything with the shop, you can visit us at wearetheinstitute.com or go ahead and email me personally, kent@wearetheinstitute.com.
Awesome. Kent, thank you so much. And hey, all of our listeners, we appreciate you being here. These topics we love to bring to you. We hope they're very helpful. If there's topics that you'd like to hear more about or guests that you want to recommend, reach out to us here at the show. Speak up at CraigO'Neill.net. O'Neill is O'Neill. We'd love to hear from you and anything that will help you on your communication and leadership journey. And we do want to invite you to listen up on the app. Go to arpn.app and you can download that for free. Episodic learning at your fingertips. Listen to the other shows on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network with Karin Capriato's Remarkable Results Radio, diagnosing the aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonslow. Nobody gets along with him, but that's okay. He's still pretty nice. Business by the Numbers, Hunt Demarest, and the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast, our friends Brian and Kim Walker, and the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. And thank you so much to our sponsors. And thank you, Kent, the Institute, one of the founding sponsors of the show. Appreciate you helping us get this going now. We're episode 102 with you, my friend. 102. Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
It's so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're a great guest every time you're on here, Ken. I actually absolutely can't wait to see you again. STX, I believe, end of August, probably the next opportunity.
I'll see you there.
You know it. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Now get out there, listen up, speak up, and hey, practice delegating. Some delegation wins.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. Download our exclusive podcast app at automotiverepairpodcastnetwork.com because the best conversations in the industry start here. Check the show notes for Craig's YouTube channel and email. Let him know what topics you'd like him to speak up about.
Yeah.